Hello and welcome to CEO Talks. I am Kalpana Singhal, founder and CEO of CXO TV, our flagship brand of Techless Media Group. Today we have the pleasure of hosting Bhaktha Keshavachar, the founder of Chara Technologies. Bhaktha, it's truly wonderful to have you here on CXO TV.
Thanks, Kalpana. Thanks for making me part of this event, of this podcast. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining. So let's start with the first question. Would like to know what was the key objective, or the vision behind establishing Chara Technologies, and how has the organization evolved to meet the changing needs of the segment, maybe in the Indian context?
Yeah, sure. So at a broader level, as you know, Kalpana, there is a large energy transition that's happening in this world. We are moving away from hydrocarbons, petrol, diesel, and natural gas to electrons for our energy, mainly because electricity is the only known source of clean energy, easy to produce, easy to transmit, and pollution-free at the point of consumption, which is all good for the future of our planet, especially from a climate basis. So we are shifting into the electric future, hopefully quickly, so that we leave a greener planet to our next generations. So when we, in this transition, motors will become the future engines of the economy. So if you look at motors today, broadly, there are two classes. There are these things called induction motors, which are all around us, our ceiling fans, our home appliances, all the motors in the industry. Very well established technology, about a century old. They are about 60 to 70% efficient. That means a third of the energy we put in is wasted as a heat, which is not sustainable economically or environmentally. But there are efficient motors today. They're usually called VLDC or PMSM motors, and they have these magnets in them to make them work. These magnets are usually neodymium ferrous boron magnets or samarium cobalt magnets. So ignore the name. The common thing with these magnets is they need rare earth minerals. So rare earths are these 17 minerals in the periodic table, which are critical for our electric future. They're used in motors, batteries, electronics, displays, and everything. They have a few problems. So these are usually considered critical materials in addition to lithium and cobalt in our electric future. So they have a few problems. They're expensive. They're difficult to mine and extract. One country, our friendly neighbor, has a 90% control over the supply chain, which is not good for supply chain variations, price variations, and of course, geopolitics. So what we are doing at Chara, which stands for motion in Sanskrit, we are building rare earth-free motors and matching controllers for a variety of applications, electric vehicles, industrial motors, and a bunch of applications wherever motors are used. In the Indian context, I always like to say this, we have seen this thing, right? The smartphone. Do you know how much of these components are come from India or not come from India? So it's like 95% of the smartphone is components come from outside India. And we are one of the biggest markets in the world today. So a similar thing is almost happening in EV today. The bulk of the EV core component, which is the battery, the motor, and the controller, is all coming from outside, mainly from our neighboring country, but sourced from all other parts of the country. We don't own the technology. We don't have the critical minerals like lithium, cobalt, and rare earth. And energy is super critical for any country, for any society. Electric energy is our future. So we need to solve these problems. So that is why at Chara, we wanted to build a motor and a controller that is free of critical minerals. We use only aluminum, steel, and copper for our motors, and the controllers are fairly used standard semiconductors, and we have the algorithms running for them. So basically, we wanted to build the Bharat motor, which will propel the economy, electric future economy of this country and many other countries of the world. That's the vision we had 4 years ago. We are a 4-year-old company. Interestingly, that vision has become stronger, both internally and externally also. Now there is more recognition, as you might have heard about the critical minerals and geopolitics and all those things. Yeah, that's the story of Chara, and that's the vision of Chara.
That's quite interesting. And the most interesting part is that the name of Chara, which in Sanskrit means motion.
Motion, yeah.
And the solution is on for the motors which we are producing, and which is the segment is the companies, the organizations looking for sustainable technologies.
Yes.
Okay, so that's quite interesting, because I think it fairly meets the requirement. Sustainability is the time, in terms of the time. It's the high time, for all of us to, and already, even including the government and the corporate sector is doing a lot when it comes to ESG and sustainability as a ESG as a whole. So it's quite timely. So, I mean, why you thought of the motor segment only? I mean, when it comes to sustainable technologies, like what was there exactly, when it comes to deciding that, what was the thought that why you want to get into this kind of a business
We took 1 year to figure out the answer for that, by the way, Kalpana. It was not easy. But just going back to sustainability, I think it's key for our survival. That's what I think. I think we have thoroughly cooked our planet. And we have to either at least maintain the same temperature, stop the cooking, or potentially reduce it also. That is key for our survival. Now, coming back to how we arrived at this one. So I was, before this, I was the co-founder of EasyTap, which we sold off to Razorpay a couple of years ago. I have a hardware background, and I like to build things. That's my behavioral pattern, if you can call it so. So after EasyTap, not having learned my lessons building a company, I wanted to do one more, probably my last. So we looked at the energy transition. So basically, we look at the way I think is we look at large transitions as opportunities. In the last decade, starting from roughly 2009, the opportunity we tapped into in building EasyTap was the digitization of the Indian economy, right? The whole economy got digitized, including money, right? Yeah. And that's why a lot of companies, Paytm, Google Pay, Phone Pay, EasyTap, bunch of companies were formed. That was it. And now we believe this huge opportunity is the energy transition, and this is worldwide. And I think this will be longer lasting than the fintech transition, and far more important for us. Now, we looked at this whole energy transition. We looked at generation, we looked at transmission, we looked at storage. Then we looked at the mobility, where mobility will get electrified because they contribute quite a bit to the climate problem. And that is when we saw this. There are only basically two core technologies in an electric vehicle. As you know, there's a battery subsystem and the powertrain, the motor. Yeah. Battery, we looked at it. Battery also is a problem which we need to solve. But not unfortunately, it is $1 billion problem. So we need a huge amount, thousands of crores to set up a battery plant. And that is one of the problems we are facing as a country. But now there are some investments going on. But then we looked at the motor. That's when we realized that there are three problems with the existing technology. Number one, we are dependent on rare earths, neodymium, dysprosium, samarium, on one country. And it is also not sustainable. The process of mining and extraction of these rare earth metals is environmentally very hazardous. So I think China is a short-term problem. The long-term problem is the non-scalability of the mining and extraction from an environmental point of view. That was problem number one. Problem number two is we still don't design and manufacture motors and controllers, whether they have rare earths or not. Most of them are coming from outside. Slowly, there's large companies have started the manufacturing, which is mainly assembly, but we don't have the core technologies, and we wanted to solve that. And the last one is we wanted to build a product company from India, a deep tech product company, deploy it in India, and take it all over the world. As you very well know, you talk to a lot of people like us, product companies are rare in India, whether hardware or software. And it's time we did this. And I think there is a lot of activity around it, and we wanted to be one of them. That's the whole story.
So these are the trends that you have highlighted, that you have observed in the development of sustainable technologies.
Yes.
So I'm sure, these are few of them which are going to shape the future of this industry when it comes to sustainability itself. It is more like becoming an industry now. So if you can also, discuss some of the recent advancements or breakthroughs in rare earth magnet-free motor technologies, and how are these innovations driving efficiency, sustainability, and performance improvements in drive systems?
Correct. A good question. So there are a lot of companies and even government entities looking at how do we get away from this rare earth problem all over the world as we go into an electric future. At a broader level, there are three ways to solve this problem. We can potentially make the mining and extraction process better from a scalability point of view, from a greener point of view. But we don't see that happening. By the way, rare earths are called rare earths not because they're rare. Gold, silver is rare. They are called rare earths because the concentration of the ore is very small. It's like you get 500 milligrams when you process 1 ton of ore. That's why it's not sustainable. But people are looking at it, recycling, deep rare earth mining and all that. We believe if that ever comes to some sort of success, and we've spoken to experts in NITI and CSIR and some foreign entities, it's about a couple of decades away. Second approach is we build magnets without the use of rare earths. And companies like Hitachi, there is a startup based in Minneapolis in the US called Niron, N-I-R-O-N. They are looking at building powerful magnets without using rare earths, iron nitride magnets. Again, it is well-known technology, but they're trying to get it into production, and they have been heavily funded by a lot of automotive companies and the US government and DARPA and things like that. The last approach which we took is we build motors which are as good as the existing motors in terms of efficiency, power, and other characteristics, but without the use of rare earths. So we use this technology called reluctance. Unfortunately, you need an electrical engineering degree to understand anything beyond this. But I'll try to explain a few simple things. So reluctance motors were known in the industry for almost like a couple of centuries. The original paper goes back to 200 years ago. They were not built because they were highly non-linear system, difficult to control. They had a lot of noise and torque ripple. And now there is a need to solve all those problems. And that's what we have done at Chara. For the past 4 years, we have done fundamental R&D in motor design, in hardware, and primarily algorithms to solve this problem and make reluctance motors a reality.
Yeah. So what are the primary challenges and opportunities associated with the widespread adoption of rare earth magnet-free motor technologies, and maybe, in various applications, and how are companies overcoming these challenges to leverage the benefits?
So we, as I told you, we took about 4 years to develop the products. We built the products last year, we tested them, and we started selling them. We had a tough, selling is always hard, as you know, but it was harder for us because that primarily answers your question. When we go and sell these motors, right, to OEM, to a two-wheeler, three-wheeler, or an industrial motor OEM. So basically, they had 3 questions. But first, they talk to us because they have heard about this rare earth problem. Everybody is worried. We don't know how big of a problem that is like 5 years from now. We think it will be bigger than now. But at least that will make us cross the threshold and come inside, right? Cross the door and come inside. That is the good part. The bad part is, this is brand new technology. Why should I be the first guinea pig to adopt this technology? As in Hindi, as we call it, why should I be the first bakra, right? I think that's right. And it's perfectly valid, right? We have no problem with that. Number 2 is, they have something that works now, these PMSM motors, induction motors. I know they're not the best, They have some problems, dependency and other things. But it works. They have bigger problems. They have to sell their two-wheeler. They have to sell their three-wheeler. And so there was no forcing function for them to switch. And I think the third one is somewhat of a startup problem. When we go and talk to large companies, they are like, you're super small. It's like a rounding off error on the balance sheets. Why should I work with you? And so we had a tough time selling this over the past 9 months, starting from the second quarter of last year till the end of this one. So we overcame this by building our own vehicles. We took an existing two-wheeler, we took an existing three-wheeler, we partnered with them. We partnered with Ather, we partnered with OSM and Log9, and proved our technology, made it run for thousands of kilometers. We had all the data. And now people were finally convinced that this is a technology that we can adopt. And interestingly, we also think the reason some of them came to us, or some of them gave us the purchase orders, is that, forget rare earths, forget the lower cost. We build everything from scratch, from first principles, electromagnetics, mechanicals, thermals, hardware, and software. So they are a lot more confident in us. That means in case of a problem, we'll fix it. There will be problems, always we'll fix it. You want a small feature, we will do it overnight for you. I think with all these changes, we now have customer orders from like about a dozen companies, and we're looking forward to a large-scale deployment this year.
Okay, so the selling is happening more from the OEM perspective?
Yes.
Okay. And
we are a B2B company, Kalpana. So I will not sell the motor to you. We hope that when you buy an electric vehicle next time, it'll have our motor. You might or might not care about it, but it'll have our motor. Yeah.
So which are your marquee customers presently?
So we have a mix of large customers and smaller startups. Some of them which I can mention is a Tata Group company has given us an order.
Nice.
Yeah, which is nice. Yeah. They have been great supporters of this of our effort, both for a small commercial vehicle and a defense application. Then we have and similar large companies. We have a company called Ingersoll Rand. You might have heard about them. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. They're in industrial application. Then a bunch of smaller companies. I think I can mention a couple of them. New entrants, Hop Motors from New Delhi, and a bunch of other customers. So we have a total of about 12 customers today. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. So the company has got funded.
Yes. So we started in late 2019, like in the November. I think in November, yes. And that is when, as you know, the pandemic was also enveloping this planet, which we didn't know in November. I think we came to know in Q1 of next year. So we had a tough time for 6 months, and everybody had. We got our first break by getting a grant from the famed Indian Institute of Science. So apart from all other entities, the government of India also thinks that rare earth is a strategic problem which we need to solve. So we got the grant from Indian Institute of Science in 2020. 21, we raised our seed round, led by Kalari, with participation from IIM Ahmedabad Ventures. And then late 22, we closed our pre-series A round of $4.75 million, led by Xfinity. Since you asked about funding, we are a deep tech company. There are many definitions of deep tech. And one of the definitions is that we take about 5 years to get to any meaningful revenue, because we have to build the product, test it, convince customers. And basically, a deep tech company is working on a product that has not been deployed anywhere else in the world, right? That's one of the definitions. So we need patient capital. And luckily, we were able to convince Kalari and Xfinity and Big Capital to fund us. And we will see meaningful revenues from this year onwards as we start shipping.
So as of now, the books looks like, okay, is it losses, or it's meeting like kind of break events? The investors are getting justified.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So, the deep tech and product development needs a long time and patience. But when the revenues come in, they will be. I think they will take the hockey stick approach much more than other companies. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And then this is particularly a niche kind of a technology, and as you rightly said, that it would take time to
It will
take
take
off.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it has a worldwide impact. We're getting a lot of inquiries from North America and Europe, where they are a little bit more sensitive to sustainability, the greenness.
Exactly. That's what, I was wondering. I was about to ask that you're getting a better response from the domestic market, or it is internationally that we are getting a better response?
So we have inquiries from all over the world, pretty much every continent. But if you go back, I told you a few minutes ago, right? This is brand new technology. We have to develop it. We have to test it with customers, deploy it in large numbers, at least a few thousand units. That we can do it only with domestic customers. It will be very hard to convince an international customer that to deploy it without testing.
And are there other options available out there, especially in both domestic market as well as internationally, or you think it's a unique product?
Yes. So every motor that is used in mobility today, from the smallest e-bike to Yulu to Ather to Tata Nexon to Tesla, they all have the same motor with this rare earth-based magnets all over the world. So that's why the opportunity is worldwide, and that's why a lot of people are looking at it, as I told you. So that's why it's very unique. We do get, so our plan, we do get a lot of inquiries from outside India, but the plan now is to deploy it in India. In the next financial year, we'll have a few thousand motors across customers and across market segments deployed. Then we can go and sell it outside India. We will participate in a trade show at the end of the year or beginning of next year.
Yeah. So you're getting a good response from the market when it comes to the rare earth magnet motor technologies. What collaborative efforts are underway between industry stakeholders to kind of accelerate the adoption and commercialization of these technologies?
Yes. So we cannot do this without the support of large incumbents today. So we do have partnerships with 3 companies. One is Chara Technologies, where we have a reseller agreement. They funded the development of one motor, and they're reselling all our motors to their clientele, which is giving us good results. 2 of our large customers are through Chara Technologies. The reason is, if you're a large company, you probably won't like talking to me because you're worried about me being small and disappearing after a few years, things like that. So Chara Technologies is a good front end, right? That is number one. Number 2, we have a contract to build a large motor with a multi-billion-dollar company based out of India. Unfortunately, we cannot disclose it right now. We don't have the permission. We would love to, say that with whom we have signed, but they specifically asked and they said, wait. We just signed a contract in November, December of last year. So it's just 1 quarter old. That's a large 125 kilowatt motor, 600 volts. It's a worldwide product. And that's a large company which can sell this motor to both OEMs in India and outside India. We also have a manufacturing partnership with another large OEM, part of the TVS group of industries. So they will manufacture our motor and sell our motor, in addition to we doing the same.
Yeah, so those are some big achievements.
Yeah. Took a long time though.
Yeah. So, the most critical part, especially in the India market, is the cost.
Yes.
So cost being a significant factor in technology adoption, how do rare earth magnet-free motor technologies compare in terms of cost effectiveness and scalability? with traditional magnet-based motor systems, and what factors influence their economic viability?
Yeah. So I always like to think, true or not, that India is not a cost-conscious economy. It's more a value-conscious economy. That's what I like to think, but it is cost-conscious. It's a tough market. So the one good thing about not using rare earths is that our motors become cheaper because rare earths are expensive. If you look at the materials that go into the construction of the motor, there is steel, copper, and rare earth magnets. Steel is about 100 rupees per kilogram today. Copper is about 1,000 rupees per kilogram. Rare earth magnets are about 10,000 rupees per kilogram. So we eliminate rare earths, so we save a lot of money. So that is obviously resonating well with the Indian customers. So our motors will be about 20 to 30% cheaper. But some of the customers we have gained is because of the following two reasons. They see the rare earth as a strategic problem in the long term, both from one country dependency and that environmental problem with mining and extraction. The second thing is what I mentioned before, I'd like to repeat it, which is that we do everything from first principles, from scratch. So that gives them a lot of confidence on the technology. That means that we'll be around. If there's a problem, we'll fix it. And any new features they need, we will add it. And we will, one more thing is there's nothing like a standard motor in this world. Every motor is different. Size, shape, cost. There are classes of motors, but every motor is different. So we will always make the right motor for you because we're doing it from scratch.
Yes.
Things that has helped us.
Yeah. So things are quite different, when it comes to the nature of business that you earlier had was building up easy tabs and here. So the nature of business is completely different. I'm sure the things has not been very easy. And what do you have as a vision? As earlier, you have Razorpay has taken over EasyTap.
Yes.
So similarly here, what is the vision like down the line once the things, in terms of revenue get settled? Are you looking at it as a long-term business or you have some plans for the exit?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer. We are still very early in our journey. Our principal goal, main goal, apart from the sustainability and other related stuff, is that we want to build a product company from India and deploy it in India across the world. Build in India for the world. You must have heard that slogan. I think that's what we want to do first. And now it looks like the public markets are more mature in India, right, than 10 years ago. When EasyTap was going through its journey, public markets in India were not very mature. Now doing an IPO seems to be a little bit more acceptable. So maybe our goal, it will take a long time, maybe 5 years from now, would be to become a company and go IPO. That will go IPO. And we also want to be recognized as the center of excellence for motor design and manufacturing. That is our goal right now. But our immediate goal is very simple, deployment, revenue, all the usual stuff, building a business. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So our industry has gone through quite of hiccups, and now it has become quite matured. As you rightly said, that now we can see public is not that difficult like earlier it used to be.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing your focus areas. And are there any expansion plans for say next 2 to 4 years?
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Sorry, question. Sorry, I missed that. Sorry, can you repeat that?
So, what are the expansion plans over the next?
Expansion plans. Sorry. So as I just mentioned, our main goal. So we have developed the products in the last 4 years. A world-beating product, world-beating technology. We now have our initial customers. Our goal is crystal clear all over the company. We have to deploy these products and generate revenue. across 2-3 market segments: mobility, industrial motors, and home appliances in the future, and do the international business development starting from next year, about 3 to 4 quarters from now, after doing the initial deployment. So that is our principal goal. I think once we do that, we'll be set for the next stage of the company, next stage of evolution in the company.
Sure. So I'm sure that these technologies are still evolving and ready to meet the demands of the next generation drive systems.
Yes. Yeah. That's the goal.
Yeah, sure. So thank you so much, Bhaktha, for sharing your valuable insights. And, the technology we have discussed is very interesting. And we really look forward, these kind of innovations coming up, and how the market further, moves forward to adapt, and these technologies get implemented. So definitely we'll look forward, and all the best to you for your further journey.
Yeah. Thanks, Kalpana. Thanks for the opportunity. But you summed it up very right. Innovation, new products, and adoption both in the domestic and international markets. If you are ever in Bangalore, I'm pretty sure you come to Bangalore. If you have the time, please stop by. Look at our R&D facility. It is crazy. It's all hardware, motors, high voltages, high currents. You're welcome to stop by.
Sure. I mean, I think that will be a great idea. We would like to have a, kind of a tour for our R&D center, and I'm sure our CXO TV audience would be very happy. And with this conversation, I'm sure that the audience would benefit greatly from this interesting and insightful conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Kalpana.
Thank you so much. So to our audience, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and follow #CXO TV News to stay tuned for more inspiring conversations.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.